Yes, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together in welcoming Mr. Ashwani Vaishnav, Honorable Union Minister of Railways, Communications and Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India. Can we welcome him with a big round of applause? All of us, please. Hello, sir. It's an honor to have you here. Thank you so much. You've given us your time today. We request you to please share a few words with us.
How's the green button for the slides? Very good morning. Are we there? Yes. Okay, good. Excellent. Good. So we'll start with a small presentation. Basically, sharing the thought process. I thought that instead of having a speech, might be a good idea to share how we are thinking, where we are going, what's our future, near future, midterm future. And then we have a question answer session. Is that okay with all? Yes. Okay, thank you. Great. So, best place to stand would be, there are two screens. So maybe I'll use this one. Okay. So the thought process here is that when we have to move 1 billion people safely and sustainably, we have to have a totally new mindset. The old way of working, the mindset of the 20th century and the previous century before that, cannot really lead us to a 21st century problem solving scenario. And Prime Minister gave us a very clear mandate that we have to change our mindset, we have to make sure that we are moving in a, how does it flip? Okay. We have to totally transform, not just make incremental changes. I'll be covering 5 elements of this transformation journey. The first element is railway stations. The railway stations, and I'll be focusing primarily on railway here. During the questions, we can have things on telecom and semiconductors. Primarily, we are looking at railway stations as a city center and create new urban spaces. And like we have seen in most cities, stations have a tendency to divide the two sides of the city. Instead of that dividing factor, station should become a joining factor. Lots and lots of changes on the way designs are done, the way construction technologies and construction methodologies are done. How does it move? Shall I use the, okay. So for example, this is the New Delhi station. This is the way design has been done, estimates, tender papers, everything completed. Very soon we'll be going to the cabinet for getting the approval. This level of change is what we are looking at. We will be creating a roof plaza over the platforms. What does it mean? So this yellow that you see, these are the platforms. And the tracks in between are the tracks. And over this, we will be creating a, it's not shifting properly. Shall I use that laptop or what? Or can somebody help me shift? Is there a laptop out here? No. What's the best way to quickly transition? Oh, okay, thank you. So we will be I think it's moving in one direction only. Okay, so I'll quickly move then. So this is the Kanpur station. This is the design for Kanpur station. Similarly, this is the design of Ahmedabad station. It's designed on the Sun Temple, Modera. The Sun Temple, Modera is the design inspiration. This is the Surat station. Again, a lot of focus on creating new urban spaces, integrating it with various modes, having an elevated, this is the elevated road so that the traffic flows in a very smooth and seamless manner. This is Secunderabad. This is the way construction technology will get changed. Prefabricated columns will be used. This is the roof plaza we were talking, right? This roof plaza will get created over and above the platform, so which creates a totally new urban space. Wherever possible, we'll be doing elevated road network so that people, the traffic which comes to station will be seamless traffic transition. Wherever possible, there will be multi-layers of roof plaza. And where are we today on stations? We are at 386 master plans under preparation, 53 designs approved, and 46 tenders issued. About, as we speak, yesterday the 6th tender got awarded and construction already started. So in a sense, it is something which is very close to Prime Minister's heart, and he has given us a target of 75 stations to be completed by, within the next 24 to 36 months, and continue the process so that throughout the country, the experience of railways totally changes. So that was the first. This kind of change doesn't come easy. This kind of change comes, all of you know it well, requires a lots of effort on the organizational front. So lots of changes, small changes we have done. Standard EPC contract document. The field officers have been empowered to take the decision. More than 3,000 engineers have been trained on this construction methodology and the design philosophy. Everybody has to be aligned. Like if you have multiple vectors and they are all moving in different directions, the net force will be zero. But if all the vectors are in the same direction, sorry to use a physics terminology here, it helps. So then the force gets multiplied. So all these 3,000 engineers trained, that gives a huge thing, and till the work is not done, the officer will not be transferred. Again, a very small thing, it's not something big, but the change in mindset happens. When the officer stays there, he knows that he has to deliver. He cannot just say that, no, my predecessor didn't do, or I'm okay, I've done it, whatever little, and then I move on. Then things don't work. So that kind of thing is moving. I'll come to the second point, the modern train sets. The passenger experience and moving 1 billion require stations, trains, safety systems, and then we'll also talk about cargo. So this is the Vande Bharat which Prime Minister launched in 2019, right? So in 2017, he said that we should have a world-class train where our people are able to move with the same safety and comfort that people in Europe are moving. And the way the engineers took that challenge, within 1.5 years, they came out with the first Vande Bharat, and it is a phenomenal train. It's a very good train. It has already covered 18 lakh kilometers, the two trains. They have covered 18 lakh kilometers, which means, if you look at the perimeter of the earth, I think it has covered 45 times the whole earth. So that is the kind of, without having a replacement rake. Now, why this train is world class? This is a question so many people ask me. I give one example. Bullet train, and answer is there, but still let's take it as a quiz. The bullet train, when it moves, it picks up from 0 to 100 kmph. It does so in 55.5 seconds. The Vande Bharat does this 0 to 100 kmph pickup in 54 seconds. No claps for the right answer, because the answer is there. So that's the kind of technology which has come in. And should we stop here? No. We should use this as the first platform and move to Vande 2, Vande 3, Vande 4. The way technology evolves, that philosophy we should use here. So, again, a very important point to note, when Japan started the bullet journey, the first train they did was 163 kmph speed potential. Our Vande 1 is 160 kmph. The second they did was 210. Our Vande 2 and Vande 3 will be 180 kmph speed potential. Vande 3, which already we have completed the design work and the tender will be finalized by December this year, is 210 kmph. It's a journey every country takes, and we are very much on that journey on this path. What Vande 2 will have, better ride quality, So ride quality is measured by something called a ride index. More the ride index means there are more jhatke in the train, right? It is going to be very bumpy ride. So let's say a typical ride index in Indian railway system today is about 3.5 to 4. Whereas in Europe it is like 2 to 2.5. In Japan, on the bullet Shinkansen network, it is 1.5 to 2. So see the difference. 1.5 to 2 means the bottle will not really shake. The glass will not shake when it is put in the train. That's the kind of level of comfort which is there. With this new generation Vande, which is going to roll out in coming few weeks from the factory in Chennai, will have a ride index of 2.5 to 3. That is a significant improvement from 3.5 to 4. It is a logarithmic scale. It is not a linear scale. It is a logarithmic scale. So the comfort level is actually exponential, multiple times what it is in case of a normal thing, right? Inbuilt Kavach, better seating, better interiors, and the most something which I really like about this train is this is the bogie design, and this is the air spring. It's like an air cushion that we use in our homes. It's like a cushion which absorbs huge amounts of shock when the train is running. That results into the very highly improved ride index. Better seating, better interiors, sleeper version is about to be launched. That will have very good design for the people traveling overnight. And this is Vande 3. This is Vande 3, which will have 220 kmph speed potential. Design is already done. Tender has been floated, and tender is likely to be finalized by December of this year. And we should see this coming on tracks in 2 years from then. So that's the journey, Vande 1, Vande 2, Vande 3, and having a significantly better, and I'm sure you have traveled in the local trains. Many of you have traveled in, how many of you have traveled in local trains of Mumbai? Right? Quite a significant number. We must have definitely traveled in the regional, let's say from a city, right, to its nearby cities. The old world memos and demos and EMUs and all, that entire thing has to change. There has to be a generational shift in the way train journey happens. So that is what we are working on. So there will be regional metros and rapid metros for, let's say, going from Delhi to Panipat. Let's say Mumbai to its neighboring Kalyan, right? Or going from Bangalore to close by 40, 50, 60 kilometer radius, or let's say 100 kilometer radius. That's the ideal for a metro kind of product. So that is what we are planning. Already manufacturing has started, and again, within next 14 to 16 months, all these trains will also start coming out of the factories. We have to once again, I'm coming back to the organization, because it's very, very important. How do we bring this change? We change the mindset and we make fundamental changes in the organization. Without making a big bang announcement, lots and lots of small changes, which ultimately adds up the sigma of delta X is very big X. So that kind of thing happens. So all these tenders are now life cycle cost based tenders. Very big change, very, very big fundamental change. When you have a life cycle based tender, then the manufacturers will always look at a better design, better maintainability, better reliability, a significant improvement in the previous stock will be seen in the new rolling stock. Lots and lots of things. Again, technology partners. Railway has been very choosy when in selecting technology partners. We have opened it up significantly. Opened it up like embracing change with open arms. That's the thought process we are right now having in the organization. I'll come to very quickly to Kavach. It basically creates a safety envelope around a train. That's the fundamental way this technology works. So if two trains are coming on the same track, and very funnily, last year, or no, earlier this year, or maybe last year. So we decided to test the Kavach. I said that no, I would like to go. So the officers were so concerned. No sir, आप मत जाओ. We will do it. ना, we will test it. क्या दिक्कत है? कोई दिक्कत नहीं, हम test कर लेंगे. Till I was boarding the engine, the officers kept on saying that नहीं नहीं आप मत जाओ, मत जाओ, मत जाओ. We'll do it. But see, ultimately, when Prime Minister decided to have Atmanirbhar Bharat as a mission for the country, and we developed this technology, if I cannot test the technology, if I don't have confidence in the technology, we have 2.5 crore people traveling every day, 800 crore trips in a year. How do I give confidence to the people? So decided to travel in the train, and the funny part of it was, I said that initially I thought that both the trains coming on the same track, one side I'll be there, other side the other minister will be there. Then I thought, ऐसा करेंगे तो ऑफिसर सोचेंगे अच्छा एक ही बार में दो मंत्रियों का सफाया. Just joking, huh? Officers didn't think like that. They were very encouraging and very enthusiastic about it. On one side I was there, other side chairman was there. Same track, two trains running coming at a speed of about 100 or 110 kmph. Lo and behold, the technology works so well. Exactly where the trains were supposed to stop, they stopped. Exactly. It was such an heartening thing, because ultimately, see, we have to understand this point that it's our own engineers who are developing technology for most of the global companies, right? Whether it is telecom, whether it is semiconductor, whether it is trains, whether it is automobile, anything that we speak of, it's our own engineers. Why can't those engineers develop for our own system? If we can provide them that ecosystem, the same results that they are doing for global MNCs will be visible for our own systems, right? That's the thought process with which we are moving. That's the mindset with which we are moving. And these are the results we have. Okay, I'll not get into this technical side. Again, we have to prepare the organization for this change. I'm again and again coming to this point because I believe that it is very important. We can say that this is my strategy, but will we achieve those results? No, we will not achieve those results unless each and every person in the organization is moving in the same direction. Some may be moving at speed of 100, others would be moving at a speed of 5, but everybody has to move in that same direction. Then only things really change. Now, this is very, very close to my heart. Why do we say that India's logistic cost is very high? If you take an economy which is 100% served by railways, the cost of logistics in that economy would be about 5 to 7%. Let's say this economy served fully by railways, that economy will have 5 to 7% as the cost of logistics. Take an economy which is fully served by road, that economy will have 17 to 19% as the cost of logistics. So obviously out in the real world there will always be a mix of the two. So mix of the two, when we take the average, the cost of logistics of the country comes, right? That is the way we calculate. India's share of railway has been falling since 1950. And that is the prime cause why the cost of logistics is so high in the country. I want to share with you with good satisfaction that after almost 69, 70 years, the share of railway has increased this year from 27% to 28%. The decline which was there from 80% cargo share in 1950, from 80 it had come down to 27. This year it has increased to 28, and again this year we will see further increase to 29, and next year 31, 32%. That will reduce the cost of logistics for the country. This is an achievement for the country, for the economy, not for any particular sector, but for the entire country, because our competitiveness in the global world will improve. So if we can increase the road share, railway share from 28, we can bring it to 50, and reduce the road share from 72 to 50, then our economy cost of logistics will come to 11% of the economy. That is the target we all have to work together as one government, one people, one thought process, all aligned towards this. Our investments have to flow accordingly. Our processes have to flow accordingly. We have to really shift away from road towards more rail. Then only the cost of logistics will reduce in the country. And does it go back? Okay, so very important point is the cost of logistics reducing by 4 percentage points. What does it mean? In terms of numbers, if you look at what our economy will be, today it is 232 lakh crore economy, right? 232 trillion rupees. Even at a very conservative estimate, by 2030 it will be 500 trillion rupees. 500 lakh crore economy GDP, nominal basis. 4% of that means 30 lakh crore. Imagine that much saving for the industry. Imagine that much competitiveness of our economy. What we are doing for this, all our horsepower, all our locomotives, engines are of vintage of 1960s, 1970s design. 4,500 horsepower, 5,000 horsepower. Totally we are shifting away from that to 9,000 and 12,000 horsepowers. First 9,000 horsepower loco will roll out of Dahod, and 12,000 horsepowers will roll out of Varanasi. So total shift in the carrying power of railways. A very important and a very significant share of the cargo today will be small parcels. It is already emerged as a very large significant part, and there is no product in railways for that. So this is the product which will roll out this December, a freight EMU, which is a high-speed freight carrying train, which is carrying only small parcels in it. This train will roll out in this December. And we have got very encouraging results between the pilots that we did between Surat and Varanasi. Second pilot is about to be launched. Results are very encouraging. I mean, whatever amount of cargo we want to carry, that amount of cargo is, and I'll request all the logistics companies present in this conclave to be a part of this journey. It is not you versus me, it is you and me together to change the economy of the country. So I'll request all of you to join hands in this journey. Hybrid freight and passenger train is getting developed, in which passengers as well as freight can be carried together on a multiple deck. So the upper deck can carry the passengers and the lower deck will carry the cargo. So these kind of innovations, these kind of experiments we are doing. And the most satisfying thing is the progress on the bullet train. This is the fifth and last point. Totally new way of working, totally new way of construction. And within few months, we have completed 76 kilometers, 75 kilometers of pillars. Last August, the first foundation was done. And since then, the progress has been tremendous. If you move around in Gujarat from Vapi to Ahmedabad, every district you'll see this kind of picture. This is Bharuch, this is Anand, this is Vadodara, this is Mahi River in Anand district, this is the full span casting yard of Vadodara, huge activity. This is Anand casting yard. This is, again, a totally new way of construction, right? Even Japan doesn't have it. This is a 40-meter long girder, 1,000 ton, 1,100 tons, huge thing. This gets lifted up, put on the pillars, and this is the launching gantry, and this is the straddle carrier. This is the bridge gantry. So this entire thing gets placed on this bridge, and then it gets launched onto the next pillar. So you must have seen some videos on YouTube how Chinese do it very fast, right? That same technology we are able to bring here. And again, most of these machines we imported the first few, and everything else we constructed here in India. We designed and constructed them in India. So very satisfying journey. And I also would like to thank the new government of Maharashtra. Immediately after taking over, they have given us all the permissions, and our team has also been working well. So as soon as the permissions came, almost all the tenders for the civil construction work have been already floated. So that is the speed at which we have to work to fulfill your aspirations. This is again from that. So thanks a lot for your patience, and this is the journey we are taking. Thank you.
So, first of all, a very, I think it's a phenomenal presentation. We all can agree. I have not seen something like this in my career so far, where all my questions are practically answered. By looking at what I saw, I have one very clear thought in mind, that you want to see railways 10 years down the line as perhaps one of the best globally. What's your vision?
Definitely. See, to carry 1 billion people, we have to have 3 or 4 modes of transportation which are highly evolved, highly developed: road sector, railway sector, aviation sector, and the waterways sector. These are the 4 sectors we have to have really evolved in a way. So the responsibility that Prime Minister Saab has given me is the railway sector. We have to change each and every dimension of railways to be able to fulfill the aspirations. And over a period of time, the world should come and learn from Indian Railways rather than we always going out and scouting for technology. That's the thought process. And it should meet the aspirations of the poorest of the poor. The thought process is that nothing that we are doing here should put an additional burden on the people. It should become actually a facilitator, an improvement in people's lives, not an additional burden.
That's a fantastic thought. But there are a lot of things that Railways is doing right now which seem to be moving at a slow pace. We know about bullet train, of course, you've given us an insight. But where are we in terms of, Vande Bharat? Of course, you've given us an insight as well. But, railway wheels is one area, rakes is another. Those two seem to be, where are we on that? Do we need
So I'll address this question head on. Rakes, yes, we need a significantly large amount of rakes, and Railway has already placed an order for 75,000 wagons. This is probably the highest in Railway's history, and we are now already getting 1,500 wagons every month, new wagons getting inducted in the Railways. And as during the presentation I said, after many years, the curve of railway share, which was a falling curve, has actually started looking upwards. That was possible because last year we added 185 million ton of additional cargo in the railway network. That's a very significantly large number, and we intend to add another 200 million ton in this year and keep having that journey. So we need significantly large number of wagons, and every wagon has so many number of wheels. Our requirement of wheels is close to 160,000 wheels every year. So that we are right now floating a 10-year tender for supplying us forged wheels, because the wheels that we are manufacturing so far in the country are good for speeds below 120 kmph. And now we have to move above 120 kmph in most of the new rolling stock that we are manufacturing. So we are going for forged wheels, which is a totally new technology. Earlier, these wheels used to be imported from Ukraine and Russia, but now we will start manufacturing them in India. So the things which I didn't cover in the presentation, there also there is good action.
What about electrification?
Yeah,
100%.
almost about to be completed. Very small patch is left. And again, the thought process here is we should use a totally new technology which will keep us ready for the next journey, next 25 years. We are in the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, 75th year of our independence. Where do we take railways when we are 100 years of independence, right? So we have to look at that as the thought process. So right now we are focusing on anything that we do should be matching what we want to see railways in 2047, right? So in electrification, we'll be totally shifting to 2 into 25 kV. 2 into 25 kV is the latest technology. That technology will be totally shifting, and the first few tenders are already out. So whatever electrification we have done so far will also be upgraded to a new technology.
Okay, interesting. So private passenger trains, those came out with a bang, but they seem to have lost their shine. What's happening?
So I think the private sector didn't have appetite for that kind of risk, and it's a global experience. This is not just Indian experience. The passenger services in India are close to 55% subsidy we are giving. So each of you who travel by train, on an average, you are getting a concession of 55%. That kind of concession everybody is getting, right? So that kind of concession private sector will never be able to afford. So if private sector comes, then the fare has to increase significantly. And that's not working in the current economic and political mind.
So can we say that the project has been shelved?
I think we need to further examine it.
Maybe sometime later, then let's not put it that way. So the Gati Shakti mission is one thing where all the infrastructure, including telecom, is being integrated. Where does railways fit in? It should be one of the core pillars.
It is one of the core pillars for the Gati Shakti mission, and multiple things that we have done. Okay, so what is Gati Shakti? Gati Shakti is basically integrated planning for all the modes of infrastructure. That's Gati Shakti. Within railways, we have merged 9 directorates and created one directorate so that instead of files moving from one department to another department and people giving all their gyan and wisdom to scutter a project, instead of doing that, we have now, in the railway board, if you come and see, there is one directorate where people from track, people from signaling, people from mechanical, people from electrical, people from civil engineering, all the departments sit on one table, and whatever call they have to take the call on that table. They cannot go around and say that, no, us department ne acha nahi likha, isne acha nahi likha. That kind of thing cannot be permitted. If you have to reject, together all of you sit, decide, reject. If you have to accept, all of you sit together and accept. So that thought process has been translated into action in railways, and all the 69 divisions are going to have, 4 already have it now, and all the divisions will have a Gati Shakti unit in the, so everything that is needed for any mode of infrastructure to be integrated with railways will be decided at the lowest level. That much empowerment of the field units has been done. So I'm sure, how many of you have ever faced permission from railway? Right? It's complex, to say the least. So when you see this, by the end of this year, or maybe let's say by March of this year, March of coming year, by when all these policy decisions would have started showing the results, what you have seen in the telecom towers, same thing you'll see in railway. Telecom towers used to take 7-8 months for permission, right? Today, if anybody from telecom sector will be able to vouch for me, a typical tower permission takes a few hours. What used to take months is taking few hours today. And if it is a tower without any neighboring airport or any defense establishment, it takes a few seconds. I'm saying, you can test it. The moment you press your button, your permission comes. Computer, you press enter and the computer throws out the permission. That kind of thought process, Prime Minister wants to bring in every sector of infrastructure. So railways will also be moving in that direction. You have been covering telecom, so you would know tower
Yes,
has
yes.
changed so much. Like,
So we have, Railways has got the highest capital allocation this year. Your priorities seem to be clear in terms of getting new technology, safer travel. But when we get on the ground, it all boils down to what is more expensive and what is not in terms of getting supplies, etc. How do you balance that out?
we have to have significantly more investment in railways. If you look at our competing economies, the closest competitor, which is equivalent to our kind of thing, I won't take any names, has been investing close to 9 lakh crore rupees equivalent for last 30 years in railways. So I think the merger of railway budget with general budget was a very good step. Because of this step, average investment, which used to be 45,000 crore per annum in railways, has gone up initially to 90,000 crore. And now that we have increased the absorption capacity and improved the working culture, from that level, Prime Minister has given us 1,37,000 crore as the capital investment in railways. So the average 4 to 5 kilometer per day of new tracks, this year we will be doing 12 kilometers per day, almost more than double of what we were doing earlier, because of all these organizational changes. Everywhere down the line, people have been empowered. First thing we ask the people in the field is, what do you need? I want this result. You tell me what do you want. And that is the negotiation between the organization, and that's the reason why fundamental change is happening.
So would you be asking for a higher budget in the coming financial year?
Definitely we should be doing 3 lakh crore investment in railways consistently to really meet the people's aspirations.
Great. So hydrogen train. I remember you talking about it, that it's coming in March. Are we on track?
That's again very satisfying, because I mean, when the world is moving towards a totally new way of working, new technology, we should be the ones who should be standing right there in the front row saying that yes, we have also developed that technology. That's the philosophy of Atmanirbhar Bharat, Prime Minister's vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat, where we compete in developing new technologies. We are not catching up to the technologies which are rejected by the world, right? So hydrogen train, the technology development is going on at very good pace. I think we should be able to see the first hydrogen train by coming before 15th August of next year. We should see the first hydrogen train rolling in India.
So, manufacturing, we've become Atmanirbhar Bharat in mobile phones in a very short time.
Yes.
Yet, in railways, we are dependent for a lot of things on China still. How do we, increase the domestic manufacturing, domestic production?
Significant, see, global supply chains are very complex, right? Anything that you see today, it's very difficult to actually map where things are. But I think, let me not hazard a guess here, but close to 2/3 or actually more than 75% of all our manufacturing of railway is in Indian territory, right? That is the level, and again significantly improving further every day.
So, before we take questions from the audience, I have to ask you about telecom. We know the auctions are going on, where you must be a happy man right now.
It's good, it's very satisfying.
So you have to give us a little bit more than that.
No, we have to do much more than this.
1.49 was yesterday. You expect it to be higher by the evening?
So what's important is this 5G auction, amounts are one thing, but what is important is that the industry has come out of the pain that it was going through. I feel happy that when we have to take telecom to the last person in the society, to the far-flung areas, that will happen only and only when the industry is strong, healthy, people are willing to invest more, people are willing to bring new technologies. That's the goal that Prime Minister has given us, that we have to make our regulatory structure better than the best in the world. Our regulation should be so good, so well designed, so well structured that all over the world people should come and see that, okay, India's regulatory structure we should copy. That is the goal that we are running towards, that we are moving towards. And that goal, first steps taken in last September. Then after that, lots of small changes in the WPC, in ROW. All those things have happened. The results are visible. And because of that, today the industry is now looking at new investments, growth phase. From a very, very stressed out industry, now it is becoming a sunrise industry.
Do you think there is space for a new player to come in, or a couple of players to come in?
I think a country like ours, a large country like ours, and again a billion plus population, we have lots and lots of scope for new innovations, new business models, a tremendous appetite for digital consumption. See, our mobile digital consumption is 15 GB per month. The global average is 11. So our digital consumption, data consumption is today more than the global average. So that is the appetite we have. Our people embrace technology like sponge. I mean, people are so comfortable in India embracing. I've seen street vendors having QR codes put on the shirt so that you can make digital payments. That is the level of technology. So there is a scope for new business models, new technologies, new players, totally anything new which happens is there for the country.
And talking about new, you have a new legal framework that is also in the works. What's the government's aim with that?
See, we are running a modern age, new day technology with a law which was made in 1885. 1885 is how many years old? Like really, really old, right? So with that kind of law, can you have a modern regulatory system? No, we cannot. So everybody in the industry has been asking for a total revamp of the regulatory setup. Each meeting I attend, people say 1885, 1930, 1950, when mobile was not even there. I mean, the word telecom doesn't appear in the Telegraph Act. Imagine, it is still the Telegraph Act, and that's the change we have to bring. So the new law, we have circulated a consultation paper. The thought process will have to be very clearly drafted, easily understood, seamlessly integrated with what we have today, future ready, not a cumbersome law. That kind of law we need to draft. And I request everybody in this room and people who are listening to me to please share your suggestions, give your suggestions open-mindedly. We have created a significantly large team to look at each and every word which is suggested by the country and outside the country. Anybody, any stakeholder, please send your suggestions. We are very keen to hear from you.
Excellent. And so we have, of course, I have a lot of questions, but before we go to the audience, one last one, semiconductors. That's a project close to your heart, I know very well. Where are we on that? Proposals?
Excellent progress, very good progress. So 1st January this year, the policy was announced. Prime Minister had approved it 15 December. Within this short time frame, almost so many state governments have put their policies got their policies approved by the cabinets and the systems and published their policies. The applications that we have received, they have visited the various sites, finalized their investment plans, decided what locations they have to do. All that has happened within a very short time frame of 8 months. In similar time frames, people are still finalizing their policy in many other geographies, right? And very happy to say this, we were anticipating 12 to 14 months for first agreement to be signed, and hopefully we'll be able to do in much lesser than that.
Groundbreaking by end of the year possible, sir?
It's possible.
Okay, fantastic. We'll take a couple of questions from the audience, please. Yep, gentleman over here.
Thank you. Firstly, sir, congratulations. And I think what touched most was when you started the entire focus on keeping passenger experience at the core and trying to build everything around that gives a lot of hope and great progress. Congratulations on that. I have, sir, one question and one suggestion, if I may. The question was more with regard to, while we're looking at all of these developments, there's also a significant asset base that the railways already has. Are there any monetization plans, etc., which are being looked at so that part of the financing for these initiatives could come in from there as well? That was something where if you could throw some light. Just one suggestion, sir, that in between out of the 4 billion tons of cargo that we move, there's about 3 billion tons which is between this heavy haul and parcel, which is the bigger chunk, lightweight, what we typically call parchun ka cargo, right? And that's one area where one would request if railway could really focus on trying to bring that cargo onto rail, not by competing by road, but more by integrating such that the role of road and rail changes there.
Excellent suggestion, very good suggestion, and Prime Minister gave us a very clear target. Integrate post and railway to take care of the Parchun, right? The Parchun cargo, right? That's the cargo which will bring a fundamental change. The vision that we have, our goal is a tribal lady manufacturing small ragi papads should be able to ship them seamlessly to a family who wants organic tribal food in Mumbai. That's the vision, that's the goal we are working with. That's why the various products that you saw, a new freight EMU, which is high-speed freight train, parcel train, running on timetable, secure, insured cargo. Today, parcels in railways are not secured or insured, right? So first pilot that we have done, we have insured the cargo. And it should be, person should be able to book at any post office in the country. That is the goal we are working towards. It may take a couple of years, it may take 3-4 years, or maybe even 4-5 years, but steps towards that direction are taken. Time's up.
Any additional question, or else I'll ask my last one. Okay, let me ask you then. No, sir. Just one clarity on the draft data protection that the law that is still in the works. You've asked for consultation, you've asked for comments. What's the direction?
I think we need to wait for that answer. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.